It had like Paperback Writers 15. I get like the Beatles were nice. They didn't put singles on the actual albums because they believe that if you bought single, they want to scam other fans out of stuff. But as going on, this album is just 10 out of 10, more than 10 out of 10. It's everything in the album. This is also the year the Beatles stopped touring when two shows had the rain pouring, and the first show one had said, we thought you just played guitars, but they play electric ones. And they tried to bring out the electric equipment. If they would have played, they'd all be electrified. Some guy had to be back there to pull the plug, if somebody was electrified. It was even so loud Ringo couldn't even hear the rest of them. The playing, so you have to look at their shoulders. So it just sucks for poor Ringo. But 1966 was a good year, but here's where the story goes. The story goes that Paul got in a car crash in November after getting in a fight with Ringo. He got in a car crash in November night on Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock in November 1966. Actually, this is debunking. Paul did get in a car crash on December 3rd, 1965. He chipped his tooth, which is why he grew the mustache about a year later. The only one who got in a car crash was a guy driving Paul's car. When Paul was in the car with Mick Jagger, this guy got injured, but he didn't die. He was in the back seat. But yeah, so should I go into this more? Yes. 1967. What if you didn't know? Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane were supposed to be on the Sgt. Pepper's album, but they were cut. Sgt. Pepper's was created in less, I think, 300. It took 300 hours to make. The iconic image on the front, the Sgt. Pepper's picture, it's not a good revolver, if you ask me. That's awesome, but it's classic, man. I can't even do this anymore. But it's very good. It's got, like, there's many references, and that's, like, the cover, apparently, like, there's this guy with his hand over Paul's head, which is a symbol of death. Although, to be debunking this more, that doesn't really matter, because one of the other shoots, we have it over Ringo's head. As far as I don't know, Ringo's not dead either. I know he's not. Yeah, please don't say that. And also, they say, if you look, there's, like, a flower of Paul's left-hand guitar. They say if you turn the Sgt. Pepper's logo upside down, it says, like, the number of November, like, whatever. But actually, that's American time. But they said, like, it's November. So it's November 9th, like 11/9. But actually, it'd be September 11th. September 11th. Upside down. And no, they were using British time for the album, so obviously not. They believed Sgt. Pepper's also had a bunch of classic songs. The title track, With a Little Help from My Friends, The Reprise, A Day in the Life, Within You, Without You, I think it's Within You, just Within. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, She's Leaving Home, the best one if you ask me. The Benefit of Mr. Kite, and all the others. Just makes this album probably the second best if you ask me. Just it sucks this album really sparked the whole pause. But leading to, unfortunately, in August, the manager Brian Epstein dies, unfortunately, of an overdose accident with beer and a pill. This hurt the Beatles when they were doing meditation, but when they got back, they started working on Magical Mystery Tour, which is the movie that flopped. I think it's okay, but we won't get into that because I talked about that more in my review of the movie. But the movie, or the album, was really good. It had some singles like Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, and Baby You're a Rich Man, Hello Goodbye, and All You Need Is Love, which had been a live thing from 1967, which was the first ever satellite TV broadcast all across the world, which was really cool. The song's good too. We had a bunch of originals like Your Mother Should Know, great. I'm the Walrus, one of the funnest tracks to ever listen to. Magical Mystery Tour, Blue Jay Way, my favorite. Honestly, I love Blue Jay Way. People say it's bad, but I do not agree with it. I love that album. I love that song. And closing out, we go to Rick. Our next journey takes us to the songs they recorded for the Yellow Submarine movie Hey Bulldog, and George Harrison's Only Northern Song and All Together Now, which I think are okay songs. I don't hate Only Northern Song. I know. I just think it's not as good as Hey Bulldog, because Hey Bulldog is awesome, man. If you watch, and the music video is cool too. Really was the Beatles at a happy point because it was so close to the end. But they traveled to India in 1968, and we'll take our journey there. This was very hard for John Lennon because he couldn't do drugs that made him sleep. He loved to sleep, of course, we all know that. But he couldn't, being awake all day in those meditation chambers, kind of got annoying. He wanted, and he really wished to call Yoko, but yes, John Lennon was in this affair with Yoko around 1966, but it got to an affair around 1968. But it got when Cynthia got home from a trip to Italy. Yoko and John were at the table saying, and John said, "Oh hey," but after Ricky Cage was some of the birthplace of some songs. Why Don't We Do It in the Road? I'm So Tired, Julia, and many more. And this album was the only double track album, and it's huge. It was songs like Back in the USSR, Rocky Raccoon, Julia, Revolution 1, Revolution 9, Your Blues, Birthday, Dear Prudence, Glass Onion, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Happiness Is a Warm Gun, So Tired, Piggies, Good Night, just classic. Album. It just celebrated its 50th birthday 2 years ago. I don't know if that's just, but I mean, the album is good. It's really good. It's just not as good as Abbey Road and Sgt. Pepper's and Revolver, but it's classic if you ask me. Man, I'm terrible. So I don't know how we're gonna do this. This is where the road kind of splits. In this case, this album was released on November 22nd, 1968. So 5 years from We the Beatles, their first big one in America. So, and this is their 10th studio album. And this leads to our first album in 1969, which doesn't have much to mention, Yellow Submarine, which didn't really have anything to do with the Beatles, but it did. But it was basically just the other side was like the instrumental from the movie. We had a bunch of songs from the other albums packed into it, with only four new songs. No, there's only three. Only three new songs, which one was amazing. One was okay, and the other was kind of mediocre, if you ask me. But just really kind of spirit album. But the Beatles wanted to go back to the old way of recording after the thing of the White Album. Things were getting heated in the White Album. They would record only a few songs they played together. They record sessions, but not around each other. One day Yoko Ono was sitting on stole one of George Harrison's biscuits, and he screamed, "I'm not gonna say it, but that female dog stole my biscuits." And John Lennon defended her, of course, but the one surprise was when Eric Clapton came in and George Harrison had him do the guitar on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which just speaks George's character, and it's claimed to be that the rest of them weren't really interested. But when Eric Clapton came, they all started working on the song. It's a truly amazing song. While My Guitar Gently Weeps is one of the best. Let's just agree on that. It's really good. And it deserves all the recognition it gets. But, when looking over these two albums, it really shows how the Yellow Submarine kind of failed. But going back to the Let It Be thing, they did a documentary for the Let It Be album, which ran into which Peter Jackson's been going to Get Back documentary. which is about the Beatles in a whole new light, a happy light. The original documentary was sad, and I made a video about that. So if you want to watch that, go ahead. So I am not talking about that much. It hurts my feelings to talk about it. But they started recording songs for the album, like Get Back. Most all the songs are good. Let It Be, Get Back, Don't Let Me Down, Should Have Been On It. Just their first ever concert in a long time was on the Apple Studio, which they launched in 1968. The Beatles launched the Apple Studio, which was a record company then, and which was to help artists find a place. And it was also on top. They played a few great songs like "Don't Let Me Down," "I've Got a Feeling." That's one of my favorites on the album. "I've Got a Feeling," like I said, "Don't Let Me Down" should have been on it. "Long and Winding Road," a classic. "Let It Be," "Get Back," "Two of Us," "Across the Universe." Those are all the good songs. I just don't like "Dig a Pony." Maggie May. I just don't like a lot of those. They could have been replaced by "Don't Let Me Down," or they could just add one more. It's like only 13 songs, so 14 would not have hurt it at all. Yeah, so just do that. Why did the Beatles not do that? Well, I know Phil Spector kind of edited it without Paul permission, the whole string thing on Long and Winding Road, which is why Let It Be Naked was released in 2003. Which should I go into the later albums? Yeah, we'll just go into the later songs and a little brief history of the rest of what happened to the rest of the Beatles. And so they started working on the Abbey Road album after they scrapped the Let It Be one, but the Abbey Road is amazing. The melody's great. My favorite song is The End. I love it. Followed by Here Comes the Sun. Just great. But stuff to note, John Lennon, his son, and Yoko Ono and her daughter were in a car crash, which was not good, which wrecked the car, which this one John Lennon did not stop driving. He stopped driving. But the Abbey Road sessions, one of the managers quit. It became so toxic. This is the last recorded Beatles album, but not the last released. Okay, so Let It Be is the last released, but Abbey Road's the last recorded. So the last chronologically, but in release date, it's the last. It's the second to last. But let's just name the songs. The original name for the Abbey Road thing was the cover. What name was Everest, because the managers were cigarettes, and they wanted to fly to Mount Everest and take a picture, which would have been cool. But I mean, Abbey Road is which was a lot more cool. It's subtle, but it's cool. It just brings a better effect, if you ask me. But with Abbey Road, you have the iconic image of the Beatles crossing the street on Abbey Road, and that's just more. I love it. The songs, like I should come together. One of the most catchy songs and one of the best Park Space on. Something, best love song ever, in the words of Frank Sinatra. Maxwell Silver Hammer. The rest of the Beatles did not like it. Paul, I really like it too. It's just really cool. Oh Darling, another amazing track. John Lennon said he did it better. Octopus's Garden. Ringo is probably his best, but I love Ringo, that track. Which was done when Ringo quit in 1968 for a little while. Paul did the drumming on Back in the USSR. Which is about an octopus's garden, which is like their little cave. But the thing with the song is just the rest. I want you, she's so heavy. I love this song. It's long, but it's really good. It's probably my third favorite. Here Comes the Sun next. George Harrison's best, if you ask me. It's amazing. I think it really is a good song. They should play it whenever COVID ends. The viruses. But we get to our next area of this discussion, or the next song, because compared to the rest, I still don't like it as much, but I still like it as a lot. It's just not my thing. I just think the rest are better. Sun King, You Never Give Me Your Money, great. Golden Slippers, Carry That Weight. She Came Into the Window, Polythene Pam, Mean Mr. Mustard, just great. Mean Mr. Mustard It's not as good if you ask me, but the rest of them are pretty good. Yeah, just like it. It's nice. As an album, it's amazing. But that would be the cherry on top is the end, with Ringo's first and last ever drum solo, which is just amazing. You can hear the bass booming as the two great guitar solos kick off, and it's not many lyrics. It's a lot more instrumental, and it's great. It's one song I can never get burnt out, like Eleanor Rigby. Those are the two songs of the Beatles I'll never get burnt out. I love them too much, and it's a good album, and the end is truly a good song for. This should have been the final album. Let It Be should have been Abbey Road. Abbey Road has the best final song, but you screwed it up, and here comes Her Majesty. A good song, very short, but it obviously should have been placed before the end, or heck, carry whatever bled into the end should have been after Her Majesty, or it should have been heck at the beginning of the old thing. But I get what it was. It was meant to be kind of like, but just the end should have been the final track on Abbey Road. Regardless, it's over now. So what's the point? Unfortunately, a couple days later, John Lennon announced he quit, and this made Paul very depressed. But in the 1970s, he got back up, made McCartney 1, and then finally announced the Beatles in the end. Beatles End, Let It Be released, the documentary released. Paul sued Alan Klein, the then manager. The guy laughed at him but he never signed the contract. This guy was corrupt, brutish. He went to jail for many years. And in fact, Mick Jagger even warned Paul before this all happened. Don't get anywhere near him. Yes, Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones said that. So yeah, it was very bad. So it's good he got what he deserved. And Paul has had many solo albums, ranging from the album McCartney 1, 2, 3, Ram, New, Egypt Station, all the different versions of that, and a lot more. His band Wings that he formed in 1971 is just amazing, with them Red Rose Speedway, Band on the Run, London Town, Sleigh Love Songs. I really just like it. It really is. What? Lennon went on to have a lot more albums, like Imagine. Not really a lot more, but a lot more. Imagine. And this is the most popular. I'm not going to any others, but unfortunately he was shot at age 40 at his Newport apartment building when him and Yoko were getting out of his car. George Harrison had a lot more had some, like, All Things Must Pass, the best first after Beatles album, if you ask me, compared to McCartney 1 and John Lennon's first solo album. It's better, I love it. And he had 33, which was another good one, a really good one. And some songs he had was When We Was Fab, and All Things Must Pass, My Sweet Lord, Cracker Box Palace. This song, I really love it. Love his catalog. He was a very good man, but unfortunately passed away of lung cancer in 2001. I meant. Ringo Starr shaved his hair in the 70s because he said, I'm too much of a wimp or coward to kill myself. So I'll shave my hair. He had his best album, which was Ringo, which was which was like he had a monologue called in the early 70s. McCartney had a song called I can't remember what it was called. It was on his album Tug of War. It was like Here Today, a very beautiful song for John Lennon's passing. John Lennon, of course, had the song Can You Sleep, which was kind of mean to Paul, but regardless, he tried to say that was about himself in the end. But in the 90s, well, the two first compilation albums happened in 1973, with the Beatles the Red and the White album. The Red and the Blue album. They both were like 1962 through 1966, 1967 through 1970. Great albums and great compilation albums. Not the best. That'd be the Beatles anthology in the 1995. The rest of the remaining Beatles, Ringo, George Harrison, and Paul made the anthology, which was a long series of TV, seemed to help with the anthology TV spots miniseries, and 3 different ones with original takes, and it's a really good compilation album. And they had found old tapes for 3 songs: Free as a Real Love, Free as a Bird, and then Now and Then. The other 2 didn't work on Now and Then, but Real Love was rejected because apparently a record station said that people wanted to listen to hip hop, not some old Beatles stuff. But this one's very popular. Free as a Bird is a great one, and Now and Then just very amazing. The Beatles one was released in 2000, the year before George Harrison passed, and is another great compilation. I own this one. And Beatles have had many documentaries. The 8 Days a Week in 2016. McCartney and Ringo Starr both had a successful career, but with having families and living a long life. But unfortunately, Lennon and Harrison aren't with us today, which it hurts a lot more. McCartney even thinks of Lennon and Harrison a lot, he says. There's been a few fictional movies like Nowhere Boy made of the Beatles. But has anyone ever been able to copy the Beatles? Never. Because there's one thing the Beatles have that no other band or no other thing could have: charisma and creativity. There are other bands that can strive, that have great creativity, and you're great. Pink Floyd, the Queen, Wings, of course. All the other bands, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Twisted Sister. I think Twisted Sister, Metallica, Nirvana, great bands. But when you compare it to music nowadays, like Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, it just really shows how music has died and perished. Music is not the same, and I don't think it can ever get back to its old self. As the lesson goes, as George Harrison said, it says it best: all things must pass. And it did. What 4 boys from Liverpool did changed the world of music for many generations. But will still hopefully be around in the next 100 years. I don't know what you'd call this podcast, but that was long. My vocal cords hate me after that. But as this is the closing final few moments of the podcast, I'd like to say you are all amazing for if you're listening to this for an hour. But if you truly do enjoy this, if you'd like to subscribe, you can. It's okay. I'm not gonna force you. Never force somebody to do something they don't like. But just I don't know if you can share this as a sequel to the Music is Dead thing, because it shouldn't be. Or is this a sequel to Beatles stuff? Yeah, it is. It really is. This podcast is gonna be weird, man. I won't be able to make things as long as this goes. I have all this time left. As much I'm starting to go like on August 10th, and it's like what? Got like 12 days left, which is a bunch of crap. I know, but that's how it is. 12 days left. So this is about to be it. But I'll try to post then too. It's really come up doing it, and it's sad. But I hope you all have had a good time in your life, and just sneak peek for the next episode. Next episode is going to be about Queen. Yes. Then episode 3, I don't know what it'll be about because I'll be confused. I don't know what time it'll be released. Could be like same time as it was now. I don't know what time it is now because I don't know this will all play out. But I mean, possibly it could be like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I gotta do a lot of stuff like tomorrow night, so this night, so I gotta chill. I'm gonna try to chill out, okay? Relax. Just live life, man. That's all you can do in this world. Man, I'm sorry if you all are getting annoyed by my stupid nose sniffling. I'm trying to drink something to make it go well. Yeah. I am gonna try to. This has been a little bit of a break I've been trying to take. I don't know. This might not be my first. Again, I'm gonna try to do that break in August. And I got something to tell you all. Today I'm gonna try to make. Tomorrow's gonna be the first episode of the the podcast, or the 19. Not the podcast, but this is the videos about the 1900 the decade because I'm pushing it back because I don't want to be doing this stuff. I want a little bit of time break before school starts. But have fun, everyone. Relax, sit back, and get on my tracks and back. Yeah, take a long ride on a motorbike till I'm ready, Freddy. See you in the next episode. Stay healthy, everyone, and live life to the fullest.